the AlQueada in the Arabian Peninsula is a symptom of, but also AlQueada in the Maghreb is a symptom of. There is other problems as well. The problem of Pakistan and Saudi Arabia, where most of the world's oil comes from. Now, US aid to Pakistan has been attacked, and as Pakistan's loyalty is in doubt. Aid attacked as Pakistan loyalty in doubt. Bilateral relations. The US has long concerns about ISI's link with violent groups such as Al-Qaeda. Daniel Dombre and Matthew Green. Politicians from across the US spectrum attacked Washington's policy of providing billions of dollars of aid to Pakistan on Tuesday amid continuing aftershocks from Osama bin Laden's death. I was right. For 4 years I've been right. As Capitol Hill absorbed the news, two responses predominated. First, open expression of disbelief about Pakistan's protestations that it knew nothing of bin Laden's hiding place. Second, an insistence by Republicans and Democrats alike that the US aid to Pakistan should be scrutinised much more closely, if not halted. The US has provided more than $18 billion in support for Pakistan since 2002, most of it going to the country's military, which is run by the Bin Laden crime family, which is what I've been saying for 4 years. The US has thus been indirectly funding its own enemy and its own demise. The US government accountability officers in reports since 2008 called for better oversight and accountability for the funding. Barack Obama, the US president, has increased aid further, particularly with the showpiece $7.5 billion civilian aid program over 5 years. My concern is that it may not have been a good investment, said senior Senator John Barroso, a Republican member of the Chamber's Foreign Relations Committee. It is, I think, going to be hard for Americans to figure out how the Pakistanis didn't know Osama bin Laden was being kind of hidden in that compound. Frank Lutenberg, a Democrat from New Jersey, and also called for Pakistan to make clear its loyalties before we send another dollar or dime. Speaking on Tuesday, he added that the only thing that could have made bin Laden's location more obvious to the Pakistanis was a neon sign. We have to find out what it is that they are up to, he said. Are they on our side? Kirsten Gillibrand, Senator for New York, called for far more accountability over the final destination of the aid and for it to be less focused on the military. Asked for the White House response to the calls from Congress to freeze the aid, Jay Carney, Mr. Obama's spokesman, replied, I would just say there's an important partnership and Pakistan has been on the front lines in many ways of the fight against Al-Qaeda and against terrorists. That's the PC version of events and not correct. He added, I don't think that it's a question of trust. I think it's a question of the interests that we share and the cooperation that we forged. The US officials have long expressed concerns about links between Pakistan's inter-service intelligence agency and violent Islamist groups such as the Taliban, such as Al-Qaeda, which gained CIA funding during the time of the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan in the 1980s. Such fears have been particularly focused on groups such as Lashkar-e-Taiba, which mounted the 2008 attack in Mumbai, but US officials also worry about Pakistan tolerating extremists who do not directly threaten the country's government. In the aftermath of bin Laden's death, John Brennan, Mr. Obama's senior counter-terrorism advisor has gone further than officials had previously done in suggesting a support network for the Al-Qaeda leader himself. Whether or not that was individuals inside the Pakistani government is unknown at this point, he said on Tuesday. But I know Pakistani officials want to get to the bottom of this, and we're working with them closely to help them in the investigation. I'm sure the CIA is helping them in quite a firm way, a very firm way, to make them reassess their positions. Pakistani intelligence officials have described the fact that Bin Laden was living so close to a military academy as an intelligence failure and expressed embarrassment, and that he could have gone undetected. Well, if the ISI was the ones who actually flipped on Bin Laden and gave him up, they would surely not want to tell the Americans or anyone else that they were responsible in the media. Pakistan's army has declined to make any official comment, but to many experts and Western officials it appeared inconceivable that Osama bin Laden could be living in a compound near a military academy in Atabad without the knowledge of the ISI. Why would Osama bin Laden put his compound right next to a military academy unless that military academy was there to protect him? That's the crucial point. It's nearly certain the ISI must have known of this building and its occupants, said Sean Gregory, Director of the Pakistan Security Research Unit at the UK's University of Bradford. But US officials insist that counter-terrorism cooperation with the ISI continues and that there is no broader alternative to cooperate with Pakistan as a whole. Figures such as Joe Biden, Vice President, and Robert Gates, Defense Secretary, argue that many of the US current problems with Islamabad stem from the decision to cut ties in the wake of the Soviet defeat in Afghanistan more than 20 years ago. While the US only told Pakistan about the attack on Bin Laden's compound in Atabad after it had occurred, Washington had reassured Islamabad, at least in public, that the country's bilateral relationship had not been hurt. Mark Grossman, the new US Special Envoy to Pakistan and Afghanistan, met Salam Bashir, the Pakistani Foreign Secretary, in Islamabad on Tuesday and described Pakistan's response to Sunday's attack as very good. There is no need to look into forensic details as to who did what, he added. We need to look at the future.